So, sounds to me like you spend a lot of time with your students. From the Clearwater students that I know, they say Dr. Martin always has an open door. You're teaching a full course load. I imagine, are you in leadership at your church?
I am.
Okay. You have a family. How many children?
Just 5.
Okay. Doesn't sound like a lot of time in there to take naps, recreation. What's the burden? What's the motivation? What's the fuel that's forcing you, keeping you to spend yourself in this way? What is it? Give us some inspiration.
There's this window called life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my great uncle taught me a little proverb when I was working on his farm. He said, "I only have a minute with 60 seconds in it. Placed upon me, can't refuse it. Must give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, yet eternity is in it."
Yeah.
When I refused to go into the ministry in 1972, I wanted to just be a kid on the farm and help farm at my home farm and areas around. And God in His providence allowed me to upset my tractor. My tractor. I was a teenager, but I owned my own tractor.
Okay.
Upset it, came out of there alive.
Wow. Okay.
And I said, "You've let me live." This past year, I was brought very low with illness.
Yeah.
And I said, "Lord, if this is it, okay."
Yeah.
But my passion and my desire is that there's a next generation.
Yeah.
And what I said when I resigned from the last church that I was pastoring, I said, I see the rising tide of unbelief, and I want to do what I can to seek to make a difference in the lives of the next generation. As I've gone to Clearwater, I've looked in the faces of many young people, and there have been many times where I've agonized with God for the souls of young people. I've seen some, though, where I've seen a fire begin to be ignited in their hearts.
That's exciting.
I had a gal that just wrote to me last week. She's headed to the Middle East. Single. But the poor life out there. And she comes back and says,
"That's sweet.
Thanks for challenging us to give our lives to missions."
Yeah.
And others in other different, in different contexts. And so that's what drives me.
That gets you up out of bed in the morning.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Plus, I get up in the morning, and you said, in terms of recreation, I run in the morning.
Do you?
I run before the sun comes up.
Good for you.
That way, the drug addicts and so forth are off the streets pretty well. And
no one hears you huffing and puffing and coughing and
yeah, typically I'm not huffing and puffing.
Good for you.
So
good for you.
But I use that time to pray.
Okay.
And I pray, and that's really what energizes and helps me to keep going is a deepening relationship with our Father.
Yeah.
But also, I have 3 daughters that are in unique places. 1 in China.
Okay.
2 in Korea.
Okay.
And I've promised to cover them in prayer each day.
Yeah, hold
and I have a son that's a pilot in the U.S. Navy, and he has a family and so on. And so, that's part of my parental shepherding and caring.
Yeah.
So it's hard to juggle all those things.
Yeah.
But God has been faithful.
He's been
faithful. And the credit that our children are walking with the Lord is not really to me. I married a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
She's been a great, great resource, a great friend with me. But God has been faithful.
Yeah.
That's really where I look at those things and say, then I give Him the credit.
Yeah. Thanks so much for talking with us. Yeah, this has
God
been.
bless you.
Yeah, you too.